Hey team, welcome back. So in this video, I'm going to be explaining how to make repeated decisions for a condition, right? So add another element, a little bit more control over our repeating decisions, right? So last time I reviewed if-then statements, right? You know how they operate. If it senses red, then this stuff will happen. If it's an if-then-else statement, if some kind of condition is met, then do this, otherwise do this, right? And I went over, and I'll get rid of this just to make our life a tad easier. If I put this in, it's going to be repeating whatever's inside this if-then loop or statement forever, right? But what if we wanted to actually stop at some point, right? So why don't we do this? So I'm going to use an if, then, or else statement. If the distance sensor senses something within 10 centimeters, tell you what, I'll get rid of this. Within 10 centimeters, so if it does sense something, I want you to do a 90-degree right turn. And then stop and wait. If it doesn't sense something or else, right? If it doesn't sense something in front of it or else, then you can just continue moving. Okay, and again, we need to put that in a loop. Otherwise, it's only going to check that condition once and then move on, right? And we talked about the forever loop. It's going to repeat whatever is inside that loop forever. Right? But what if we wanted to do it for a certain number of times? Well, then we could use the repeat loop with the counter in it, right? So if I put this inside the loop, now it's going to be checking this condition or if, then, or else statement 10 times. And then after that 10 times, then it's going to move on to the next block, which in this case, I'm going to have it stop and exit program. Okay, so it's going to be checking if there's something in front of it within 10 centimeters. If it is, then do this. Otherwise, do this. And it's going to check that condition 10 times, and then it'll move on. Okay, but what if we, don't know how many times it needs to be repeated for? Well, we would use the repeat until loop. Right, so we would hit repeat until some kind of condition. Now, we certainly could repeat, checking to see if there's something in front of it until a color is sensed, until the touch sensor is pressed. You certainly could mess with, what position's up. We didn't really get into that. You could also, check your operators and check your, pitch, roll, or yaw and see if that's at a certain number. All right, so this gives you way more control over what you have, right? Instead of repeating it endlessly, we can repeat it for a certain number of times or until some kind of condition is met, right? Repeat until something. All right, however, there's going to be a couple more things I need to show you that you have no idea existed up until this point. So what I want you to do, check down here, right? You're going to see it looks like blocks with a plus sign. If you hover over top of it, it says show block extensions. So click on that. And we're really just going to focus on the more motors. So make sure you have that check mark checked off there, right? If not, just click on it. It's super easy to add, right? It adds right there. And then exit out. And now if I scroll down, you can see that there's more blue blocks, right? It's the same color blocks. But if I click on it, now I have a bunch of blocks you have never seen in your life, right? And it has a bunch of different uses and purposes. Most of these we're really not going to need, but the biggest one we're probably going to use would be relative position, right? So by checking the relative position for whatever motor, you're trying to track, we can have it set for certain degrees that the wheels traveled, right? So we know that one rotation is equal to 360 degrees, right? Because there are 360 degrees in one circle. So if we know we have to travel 3 rotations, well, then we would take 3 times 360, and then that would be the number that we put into our software. So 3 times 360 is 1080. So now it's going to repeat what's in here until your C motor, in this case, or whatever one you choose, reaches 1080 degrees rotated. Remember, this calculates it in degrees. So we're programming rotations, and then we just have to have it double check in degrees. So right now, the way this program reads, it's going to set moving motors, set your speed, wait, and then it's going to check this condition, right? If there's something in front of it, you're going to do a turn. If there's not, move forward. And it's going to do that until the C's relative position is greater than 1080 degrees. And if that condition's met, you're going to stop and exit program. All right? Hope that helps. Good luck.